Hey guys, it's Katsuriki Cats and Camera, and today I decided to do a sort of compare and contrast between the Runaways comics and the TV show. So I've watched season 1 because it was on Amazon Prime. I know there's a season 2 of the show, but I've not seen it yet. And I've read, I think, 3 volumes of the comic, but obviously the first season is more to do with the first volume of the comic. So yeah, let's just start with characters, and they did a pretty decent job of casting the characters. So first we've got Alex, who is pretty much the sort of main character in the comics, but it's more divided between the whole group in the TV show. But he looks very similar to his comic counterpart. Next we have Nico, who is a bit of a goth character. There's different reasons in the show than in the comics. The comics, she's just kind of like, that's how she's dressed. But in the show, there seems to be a reason behind why she decided to look like this. Next we have Carolina, again, pretty decent casting. Very different family dynamics in the TV show than in the comic, but it definitely brings another sort of side to her character. Next up we have Gert, who is a bit of a feminist. She has a lot of her own opinions. I feel like the TV show made her too pretty and too skinny, but in general they kind of got her vibe right. She was also a little bit more preachy in the TV show in terms of patriarchal society kind of vibes, but it worked. Next we have Molly, who is the youngest of the team. In the show, her family dynamic is very different than the comics. It's like completely different. I'm not sure why they went that way. Probably to make it harder for her to deal with certain things that are happening to her. She hasn't got a family there, so she doesn't know what's going on. And last but not least, the only one of the casting that is very different to the comics, Chase. Yes, they're definitely trying to sex up a character. They need that heart. Can you stop? Come here then, dickhead. Sorry, I have to let this join me because it keeps trying to jump at me and knocking the camera everywhere. So yeah, I definitely feel like the show is trying to sex up Chase a bit. They're trying to have a heartthrob, an attractive guy to get the girls viewing it. Because in the comics he's pretty much, he looks more of like a surfy stoner type guy rather than a hot jock. But obviously that's where the show wanted to take it. But I do like his character. I do like the guy that plays him. So I'm not too mad about the fact that they've changed him quite a lot. So you wanted attention and now you don't. Typical. So on to the actual arc of the show. Now this isn't a spoiler. This is literally what Runaways is about. It's basically about a group of kids that find out that their parents are part of this evil organisation that are killing people and sacrificing people for reasons that we don't understand. That's not a spoiler, that's what the show's about, that's what the comics is about. But again, the TV show has changed it quite a bit. It's still got the sort of main storyline, but there's a lot of different elements. It's more sci-fi rather than fantastical. It's less comic-y because obviously it's a Marvel comic, which means that we've got our alien races and we've got our mutant people like the X-Men in here, but it's sort of not as comic-y in the show. They've made stuff centre in the real world, but also with a sci-fi twist. So I do like that. I think it works for the show. The thing about this is, the comics are very much a middle grade comics. They're really easy to read. There aren't too many sort of darker elements. But the TV show is more young adult, so I feel like they've darkened it a bit. Especially Chase, I think his storyline is a lot different, but I do really like it. Everyone's family life is a lot more prominent in the show because obviously they've got more space to show you how the characters interact with their parents before and after they find out about this evil organisation that they're a part of. And yeah, I feel like the show is very much sort of a family-based drama rather than the kids coming together and doing their own thing. There's a lot of sort of sneaking around, trying to pretend that they don't know stuff. And I think it helps to make the TV show really interesting and really easy to watch. You're cute. I know a lot of people like it when a TV show or a film are exactly the same as the book, they follow the plot exactly, but I think the Runaways have changed it in a way that works rather than a way that doesn't work. Definitely want to watch season 2 if it ever comes onto Amazon. I know it's a Hulu thing and I don't have Hulu, but the first season came onto the Prime, so that's when I watched it. And going back into that whole middle grade and then changed into young adult, the characters have been aged up quite a few years, which again I think works for the way that the TV show wants to portray its characters and wants to changed the storyline around a bit. And lastly, one thing that's very different to a lot of shows that are based on comics is that the first season is probably not even half of this first volume, whereas a lot of the times they'll take a whole volume and make it into a season. They did the opposite with the TV show. They sort of bulked up the family issues and the finding out and what happens after that, rather than the characters just being runaways. So I do want to see what goes on in the next season. Certain relationship-y things have happened a lot earlier in this, but again, I think that's because the characters have aged up a bit. So yeah, let me know down below whether you've read or seen The Runaways. I would like to know your opinions. I didn't want to go into too much detail in this video because I don't want to spoil anyone, obviously. If this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others. And if you continue to enjoy them, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video. Bye.